Welcome to the Locker Room Chat. David Quinn and Ron Berry. Glad to be with you this evening. Our phone number is right there on the screen, 483-8112. Give us a call if you'd like to talk to us tonight. I usually get on Berry every Wednesday. I'm not going to get on him now. I'm going to give him a break tonight. He's tired, I think, or something's wrong with him.
I
think his wife gave him his medicine. Now he's calmed down.
I'd like for you to get on me, because that's usually when it really is.
It's interesting.
Well, it shows the difference between our IQs.
I do want, there are IQs. There's a lot of difference between mine and yours. Mine's way up, yours is way down. But anyway, we're going to talk a little high school football here in just a minute.
I see you brought your paper there. Look at the pictures.
I did. They're pretty, ain't they? You see them? You see all the pictures there? How pretty they are?
If you want me to interpret any of that stuff,
I don't need you to interpret any of it. I know they said they found
You almost said a bad word.
You almost said a bad word. I've been known to do that too. I've been known to do that too. You know, and we talked last week, me and you did, and this just happens to be in the sports page. A penalty for fans storming the field. Does the SEC have the guts?
No.
And that's, I guess, the only thing that was different from what I had heard. They talked about instead of the next year changing the game. I mean, the second year after that game being an away game instead of a home game. They're talking about it now being a loss.
Right.
Going to be a loss. Or the next game, you wouldn't play the next game, it'd be a loss.
Commissioner called me and asked me about my idea. My idea that I had. And you even liked it. Now, wait a minute now. You even liked it. See? I'm not going to tell you. No, I'm not going to tell you.
Okay, don't tell me. That's really good.
But the commissioner, he liked that idea. And we're sort of we got to fine tune it a little bit.
I'll be on a conference call with him in the morning. I'm on that weekly on Thursdays with him, and we'll see what he's got to say. But let me just say about the balls, man. What about the baseball? Rolling right now,
still hotter than a firecracker, buddy. The bats are soaring, and it's. Well, I mean, you've been on athletic teams before, and it's amazing how just a little spark will pick you up, and just that, people talk all the time about, momentum. In the world of athletics, momentum is real. It's not something you just talk about.
No, it's
you either have it or you don't have
That's
it.
Exactly right.
And it's just strange how something minute can get you going. Is it truth or fiction that you bring out the hat and you bring out the coat and all of a sudden you start scoring 78 runs more than your opponents?
So me and our producer Chandler there were talking before you come in.
Was he our producer?
He's our producer.
Director?
Buddy. Director, producer, whatever, slave driver, whatever he needs to be. He's driving me and you. But anyway, he said, I'd like to know what that speech was. I'd like to hear that speech that Tony Vitello give the team to get them fired up and start playing this way.
We talked about it last week. I really don't think he had to give much of a speech. I think, and we talked about it early in the season, and you wanted to blame it on the shortstop for being a chemistry.
Well, I still think it was.
And some of that is true. You have to get the chemistry together, and he was, he got a late start, didn't get to play the first 5 games, and was injured for a while. So. Once he started going, I mean, he's as good as advertised. I mean, he's the real deal. He's made some plays that average shortstop won't make. He's made some boner plays too early on.
He still made a couple.
And I think some of that is, I can relate to that. I mean, you move to another place and you're really trying to show them that you want to belong, and so you try harder, and a ground ball that you normally would eat up all of a sudden bounces off your glove because you're trying to get it and go too quick. The chemistry's right now though, and the chemistry came at the right time, and the pitching is picked up, and the bullpen is picked up, and it's just like when you're riding that wave, I guess. I'm not a surfer, but man, when they ride that wave, it's beautiful to watch them ride it, and it's fun to watch them play.
Well, I think there were some key changes that Coach made too. Like changing the bullpen,
Yep,
changed up
yep.
in the bullpen, pull somebody that had been a starter, put him in some bullpen action, and got him a little. I
And
ain't
you
gonna
know
say
what that
confidence,
proves?
but his cockiness sort of carried over
That's
a
right.
little bit.
And what that proves to me, David, is he's got the horses up there. You know, when you can
Yeah.
start making changes
Yeah.
in the middle of the season,
So
and success comes, that you've got the horses to do it with.
he throws a kid last night, I think, that's a freshman,
Freshman,
and talks really highly of him. That hey, he's got some good days in front of him.
base is loaded. He gets out of the jam.
Gets out of the jam, comes in and gets out, or he gets out of the jam. I don't know whether he come in or not, but he was in, got out of the jam, and coach said, we'll be looking at him later on down the road, seeing where we're
Right.
at inning-wise
Right.
with him. I would assume him being a freshman, just the way I took it. Now, you might take it different from me.
Right.
He said, we'll look at his innings. Do you think they've got him on a pitch count for a freshman year? Maybe not trying to – you think they're trying to hold him, keep him into a certain amount of innings?
I think you want to
coming out of high school, coming into college?
Yeah, I think you want to bring him on, and depending on, although I think he's earned the reputation and the trust now of the pitching staff that if we had to have him, we wouldn't care to bring him in the eighth inning of a tight ball game for 3
No,
outs.
it sounds like pretty good material. So I would think
so
the future.
I think you're right.
I think the future, if you just look at the future, Tennessee's future looks pretty good too. So
think you're right.
They are on a roll right now. That's a good thing that they're on a roll. Let's talk a little high school football. I got a text last week, and I really didn't see it till I got almost halfway home last Wednesday night from here. And the text was, hey, talk a little bit about Anderson County football, talk about their state championship that they won last year, and what we thought might be the outlook for this year. I will say this about the outlook for this year. I have heard zero about Anderson County football. Now, I'm not saying I run in the circle.
Is that odd, or is that normal, or what?
No, usually there's a lot of talk.
Okay.
That, hey, we've got, like last year, the receiver was back, Val, Martinez kid, talking about different positions. Last year the talk was out of where they added the coach, Tony Lambert, defensive coordinator. All this talk. I know.
So Lambert came back?
So Lambert's back as a defensive coordinator. He was defensive coordinator last year. Was that the key missing piece on the coaching staff or something? Maybe
Tony Lambert has to get some of the credit because he knows.
Well, he does,
defense.
and I'll give him the credit. Give him the credit on the defensive side of the football, and he's a pretty daggone good motivator too.
Yeah.
So whether you're playing for him on the defensive side of the ball or not, he can probably motivate you either way.
Yeah.
So he's pretty good. He's pretty good football. He's a pretty good football coach. He's
to
a
me,
daggone good football coach.
And to me, Coach Gilliam on the other side of the ball is just adept at spreading you out. I mean, he's probably had an innovative offense for years, because I don't know of a high school football team. I'm gonna say in 2 or 3 states that have had the quarterback back to back to back to back to back that Anderson County's had. I mean, they've had some really, really good quarterbacks.
And it's me and Jonathan Cox sit down here every Friday night, and for years, we have talked about, AC goes through the season. Sometimes they run the table,
right.
Or sometimes they lose one game,
Right.
and they run the table. And years before that, me and Cox called it that Anderson County was playing, we called it the Pizza League because it was not much. Playing down out of Chattanooga.
I don't understand why you do that. I don't understand why you belittle. I don't understand why you belittle things like
we
that.
We did.
Me
and Cox. Cox was more Cox than me. Anyway, but now wait a minute. Let me finish up. But now Anderson County comes back up this way and plays. They're playing a little bit tougher schedule.
Well, they were playing Greenville. They were playing Elizabethton.
That's only in the playoffs.
Well, I'm saying it doesn't matter. You got to play them.
When you're playing the teams they played in Chattanooga beforehand, that competition was not very much.
And who assigned them to a district?
They chose to go down there. They wanted to go down there.
But
anyway,
TWSAA has to assign it.
That's fine. Yeah, but they got to go down there.
Okay.
I don't think it paid off for them. I think coming and scheduling a really tough schedule. Really tough. Having to play Powell. okay, having to play Elizabeth and during the regular season, having to play all these teams and having to play that tough schedule, okay, I think it paid off for them. Instead of running it, how many times have you have heard this? These teams that play their kids a half and they don't get to play the second half, and then when they get against a good team, they don't know how to play in the third and fourth quarters. I'm not saying that happened at Anderson County. I'm just saying, I just wonder how many times that's happened. How many times?
I've heard it 338 times.
338 times.
So you didn't think I'd know that, did you?
No, I didn't think you knew that. Who told you that?
That's my memory. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, 339 then for me now. I just told you that.
No,
again.
I threw that one in. It's 338.
Oh, okay. 338 then, ever how you made that up, whatever you come up with. But seriously, you think that plays anything into it?
I think it probably plays a little bit into it, but at the same time, you got to think of who they were losing to in the playoffs. They were losing to the state champions.
They did.
You know, when Greenville was making their big run and Elizabethton was making. So did it really matter? You know, whether you got beat where you were 10-0 and you got beat in the second round or the third round or the fourth round. I mean,
I don't know that it.
I don't know that last year, because they played those other teams, that it got them through a state championship. I think a lot of it was, if you go back and look, a couple of years, I know the quarterback was hurt during the playoffs. Another time, the quarterback was hurt during the playoffs. So there's been some, you know, there's been some reasons for it, but you know, and it takes a little luck to win a state championship.
Either on Greenville's first state championship run or their second one, I don't remember which it was. Anderson County had a lead, and their quarterback did get hurt.
That's right.
In that game.
Early in the game, or first quarter.
First or second quarter.
Yeah.
In that game, he did get hurt.
So it's you know, there's a little luck involved in it, just like there is in winning a college in national championship. I mean, look at Colorado. Got 5 downs the year they won it. They were getting beat. They get 5 downs. Who's going to get 5 downs anymore?
Nobody,
because they're going to replay now. So they got lucky. Tennessee, you know, wins theirs. If you remember the Syracuse game, first game of the year, we're behind. We get a pass interference call that's questionable down. We kick a field goal and get out of there. The fumble at Arkansas.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of things that you got to have a little luck to put it all together. And I think Coach Gillum, Coach Terry, and Coach Lambert now, and all that staff up there, they persevered through all of the stuff. Didn't whine, didn't cry on. And their time came and they took advantage of it. They seized the opportunity.
We'll see. I think you got a lot of holes to fill. We'll see how the year folds out. Like I said, I've not heard very much about them this year, as far as just the talking around.
Talking about Anderson County and Greenville, how ironic would it be if you know, you got the quarterback from Greenville at Army.
Yeah.
Knows going to Navy. How ironic would it be if the public addresser says the tackle on the quarterback from Greenville made by Richie No's boy?
Yeah.
Same conference.
Same. Yeah.
So you hadn't thought of stuff like that, have you?
I ain't thought too much about that.
Yeah,
I forgot that kid from Greenville went to Army.
You stick with me.
I'll stick with you, man. I'll hang with you. I'm just thinking, like I said.
But that is pretty neat. I just haven't to think about that. That would be unique, wouldn't it?
Pretty unique. But usually, and I assume Richie's son is still going to Navy, even though they've had a head coaching change.
Oh, I think. I think you my guess is you don't turn those down.
No. It's something first of all, it's something you got to want to do just to go to the Navy.
That's right.
To go to one of the academies, first of all. You got to want to. That's something you got to want to do. And then you get in, and then just so happens where you're going to get to play football too. So I would think you want to go to the academy part first, and then your whatever sport is, you're lucky enough to get to play that too, and that's what you're wanting to do for your career.
If you will look at probably the top 50 companies in America, you'll find that probably 20 to 30% of those are headed by people who went to one of the academies. People don't understand the other side of that education that you get. So just another little food for thought.
Well, it's, you're right. It is. It's a pretty prestigious place to
Prestige.
whichever branch you're going to. So
For life after football.
yeah, for life after football, and you got to get you got to get a senator, somebody
Yeah.
to nominate you.
You gotta be
You
sponsored,
got to
yeah.
be sponsored to get in one of those. You just don't decide.
No.
Hey, I'm gonna. You got to get some sponsors there. So, I don't. Do I see another state run in Anderson County this year? Probably not. I don't think.
Do they lose their quarterback? That'd be my first question.
Yeah, he's gone. He signed. He just signed with Carson Newman.
Okay.
He did. Just signed with Carson Newman.
Coach
Now they had a
Clowney-
kid.
Coach
I can't
Clowney
think
will
of.
be good to hear that.
They had a kid to get hurt in the state championship football game. He was a running back. I do not remember his name. I think he was just. Almost positive he was just a junior. So I guess they're probably waiting to see how his recovery is. But
So Anderson County's done fairly well. They've got 2 at Davison, 1 going to Naval Academy.
One Carson. There
One
might be
Carson
more than
Newman.
one. And I can't think where the
So,
Val.
you know,
the Val
so
kid
that's-
signed. I can't
that's,
think where the Val. I can't think where the Val kid signed.
That's pretty.
He signed with somebody.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's they've
Good stuff.
They've had a
Good stuff.
pretty good program there, and I've not seen their schedule this year to see. I do know this. I do know Clinton's back on their schedule this year after a couple-year absence there.
Well, that'll be a huge game. That's a
Yeah,
big,
and I
big
think
rivalry.
is
Is that the bridge game?
Yeah, they call
what they call it, the bridge or
yeah, something like that. And I think that game is at Anderson County.
Well,
I
those are the
think.
ones I miss doing, don't you?
Yeah, we did some big games up there.
Miss
If you
doing
really
those.
think about it, there were some really good games up there.
My first
We did
game
some
at
really-
Anderson County was when they were trailing Fulton.
playoff game.
Yep.
Was that
and,
a playoff
and
game?
Lambert was on their staff then, just a young whippersnapper. And
Kerr would have been the coach, wasn't he?
Who?
Was Kerr the coach?
Kerr was the coach, and we were on the sideline, and they came back and won that football game.
They won that game in overtime. Do you remember if it's overtime or not?
I'm not sure if it was overtime or not. I just know they came back to win it.
Yeah, I know they did. I know they won it.
Big game.
Won it late there.
Big game.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
back here. We don't know. We missed it.
so that was my first game at Anderson County.
It was a good game.
We've had
Good
some
game.
dandies.
So we'll see what it brings for AC this year.
See if you can get a text and see if we've covered it pretty good for them.
We'll see. I told him we were doing it tonight. We do it pretty much the first thing, and he said, okay. And I told him if you want to call in.
Well, or at least text you and let you know if we've done it. If we don't, we'll have to,
I'm not changing anything.
we've got some-
He's
we've got
probably mad at me because I didn't say they're going to win another
We've got some more.
championship. Hold on a minute.
Uh-oh. We've got some more stats we can throw
Yeah,
out.
hold on a minute. Let's see here. Oh, he says AC's at Clinton. I didn't know that. I thought it was the other way around. He said AC's at Clinton. Well, I would say this. In the streak of Anderson County and Clinton losing, I say that streak's over with.
Is that right?
Yeah. Coach Terry might have to get him won't get to have another T-shirt made, say the streak lives on or some bull crap like that.
Oh, I thought you.
Streak is
the-
over if it's at Clinton.
I thought the streak was when he was running down the sideline on
It's
that
over.
kickoff return.
That's when he
and
pulled a
pulled his
hamstring.
hamstring.
That's when he pulled a hamstring.
That's the huge.
But I
Coach
will say
Terry.
this. Let me say this, and I'm just kidding about it. Anderson County is a really good place to do a football game. First of all.
Oh, beautiful.
And the
beautiful.
hospitality there is
Beautiful.
always the top.
Great spot though up there on the
Great
press
spot up
box.
there at the press
Good
box.
food.
Yeah, good food. And it's always.
But it just cost me so much though. Good
it did
gosh.
cost you nothing.
Oh, it
up
cost you
there.
more to go up there
Oh,
because there's so
Lord,
many
man.
to feed.
I'll tell you what, Chandler. Let's take a break
Shoo.
before he starts
Man.
telling the big one. We'll be
Man.
right back just in a few minutes.
It was worth every bit of it.
Daniel Forrester has been recognized as one of East Tennessee's leading attorneys for nearly 2 decades. Civil disputes, criminal defense, divorces, and juvenile custody cases are all part of an impressive resume. Daniel's legal experience also includes representing clients in local, state, and federal courts. A husband and a father, Daniel is a Rule 31 certified mediator who has represented hundreds of families in Chancery Court. Call Daniel Forrester Law Office at 865-457-7900 for a free consultation.
Earl Duff Pre-Owned Center in Harriman is your one-stop shop for vehicle sales and service. The Duff family is open for business for everything automotive. We offer fully inspected, dependable pre-owned vehicles, and most come with a powertrain warranty at no extra cost. We also have a complete service department equipped for maintenance and repairs on all makes and models.
Don't settle for less with your next pre-owned vehicle purchase. Come to Earl Duff Pre-Owned Center in Harriman or online at duffpreowned.com.
I'm Andrew Saul, Commissioner of Social Security. Beware of telephone scammers pretending to be government employees. Real Social Security employees will never threaten you. Callers threatening you with arrest or other legal action and demanding money are not from us. If you receive a call like this, hang up, do not provide them with any form of payment or information. Report the call at oig.ssa.gov.
When should you get tested for COVID-19? You have symptoms of COVID-19, such as runny nose, congestion, sore throat, fever, cough, shortness of breath, muscle pain, headache, chills, or loss of taste or smell. Current testing recommendations say everyone should get tested immediately if they have symptoms of COVID-19. If you have symptoms, be sure to follow recommendations about how long to stay home and away from others. For more information, visit our If You Are Sick or Test Positive webpage.
We treat you like family at RMG. Bring your junk, cars, aluminum cans. We'll buy it on the spot and we'll pay you a lot. We treat you like family at RMG. Yeah, we treat you like family at RMG. We treat you like family.
Rome Metals is located just off of Highway 27 between Harriman and Rockwood.
Welcome back to the Locker Room Chat. Good to be with you this afternoon. 483-8112 if you want to call or give us a call. We'll talk about what you want to talk about.
I'd be interested to see if Coach Terry's call. You know, I'd like to hear from Coach Terry. If you're listening, give us a call, Coach Terry.
Coach Terry's listening.
Huh? You think he is?
He might be a little scared to call in right now.
Why is that?
You know, he's got to go to Clinton and play this year. He might be scared.
Man, he eats that up, man. He eats
you think
that
he
up.
does?
Yeah, he eats that up.
Well, you know.
That'll be a fun game. That'll be a fun game.
Clinton should be a pretty good football team.
Should they?
Yeah, and AC's probably going. You know, AC's probably. They'd be no different than any other year up there. They probably got another kid that's just as good as the kid that left. You know, they've just not.
Well, they've got a good NIL thing going up there.
Yeah, they do. It's just the fact there's not been a lot of talk about AC football this offseason after winning the championship. Basically, all you heard was, win the state championship. You've not heard a lot. So that doesn't mean anything to me. You know, I don't look for too much to change up there as far as, maybe they got to reload just a little bit. Everybody has to reload.
Gosh, Coach Terry's been there a long time.
Well, Coach Gillum's been there for a pretty good while, too, now.
But Coach Terry was there before.
Yeah, he was, but you got to look. Coach Gillum played there.
Yeah.
Come back and coach there. So he's been there for a while, too. So it's a pretty, once again, there's a theme to that. Pretty consistent coaching staff there that stayed there all this time. And, and pretty consistent winning.
Is Coach Kerr still at Union County?
No, he's at Campbell County now. He's assistant coach at Campbell County for his brother-in-law.
I'm talking about Coach Kerr.
The older Coach Kerr.
Who was at Union County.
No, he left that. He retired again. His son took it for a little while. And his son, they finally convinced him to come to Campbell County and coach with Kimfa. They're all the two brothers. He's married to their sister.
Right.
So he's in, it's a family deal up there. So it's another place. It's from the day me and you were doing football, which we never went to Campbell County to do a football game, and I don't even know if we ever done a football game with Campbell County participated in. That used to just be a bad place to go coach football. Yeah. That was a graveyard for coaches up there. Yeah. And man, have the Price twins turned that program around? Wow. I mean, that's a 180.
Well,
man.
The biggest thing they did was keep kids there. Yeah. Just like themselves.
Went. Yeah, I mean, they didn't play there neither. They come on down here.
That's what I'm saying.
Like a bunch of others from up there did,
so
too.
They just kept their kids at home.
They went to the middle schools and got them to play as they come play at Campbell County. And it's worked out.
Yeah.
From Jacksboro Middle to La Follette Middle, it's worked out. Getting all those kids to come play at at Campbell County. So it's been they just did what everybody else was doing and they just started keeping their own kids.
And the good thing about them is, you got one on offense and one on defense.
Yep, that's true. You do.
So it's.
And the offensive man, which is the head coach, stays in the press box. He's not on the field.
Yeah.
He's in the press box. He does it from the press box.
Wow. Have we got any high school scores?
Got any scores, Chandler? Yeah, I think he said we had some.
Wow, Anderson County down a little bit in baseball this year, aren't they? Wartburg 21. Wow, long game.
That's a run rule game, isn't it?
Yeah. Halls over Carter. Wow, Harriman over Rockwood, 18-6. Northview Academy over Clinton. Clinton spanked Oliver Springs. It's Oliver Springs. Pretty good softball team. Boy, Gibbs continues to just have a dynasty, don't
And
they?
she just rolls them out over there.
Just a dynasty.
They just keep rolling out over there at Gibbs.
You know, and I was noticing the other day, we don't have any local teams in the top 10 in the area. And that's unusual. You know, usually we'll have a baseball or a softball team in the top 10, but we just don't have many anymore. Harriman is having a good year. I think Harriman's only lost a couple games.
Baseball?
Softball.
Oh, softball?
But and they're probably them and Oliver Springs are probably and Oliver Springs always has a pretty good softball team. They've gone.
You used to have a pretty good baseball team, don't they?
They did. Cofield's Coach
Baseball?
Coach Lau. Coach Lau.
They're number 3 right now.
Now you talk about a fireball, buddy. Now, he's a fireball on the baseball diamond.
Is he?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. As long as you're not umping, after you're a spectator, you get to enjoy it. But he's
keeps you on your toes.
He gets the max out of those kids up there. The max. You know, and the thing I always admired about him, he has to do it all. You know, take care of his field. You know, the whole shooting match. So there's what a lot of teams have now, indoor batting facilities and all that stuff. You know, he's still doing it the old-fashioned way. So, but he's got a good program. Well, he played Oak Ridge this year, so he talk about schedules now. He's all comers. Bring them on.
Any coach that coaches at Cofield gets a lot out of their kids. Their kids really produce down there. Whether it's on the football field or whatever. I mean, they really produce.
And the other thing that you got to admire about Cofield is losing 2 football coaches and still keeping your program strong. And they've kept their football strong. I mean, they made a good run last year. So
sure did.
So that speaks well for that school, the community. It speaks well for the coaching staff and the administrators. The whole shooting match.
As you know, pretty much like I do, that's a pretty tight community down there anyway.
Yep.
Especially when it comes to Friday night football down there, it is a tight community.
It is tight.
It's a great. I mean, listen, you can go wherever you want to go watch football. I don't care where you go, but everybody ought to go to Cofield one time watch a Friday night football game.
I know my first experience there, and I was walking the sidelines with Doc Higgs was the doctor, team doctor for him, and he chose Cofield to look after, and for that very reason. I mean, just the atmosphere and just the fact that they did more with what they had than probably any school around.
I'd just sooner go there on Friday nights during playoff time as to go anywhere else that I've went. Well, I don't know. I've always going to Greenback's not bad neither.
Yep.
But going to Cofield and all the places I've been with Brad during playoff time, Cofield ranks right at the top.
So where did you go that you got the best hot dog?
In high school football?
Yeah.
Ooh. It's a good question. It's probably going to be between Rockwood and maybe Oliver Springs.
Well, the only reason I ask it because when I used to buy those at Rockwood, I'd always get the more expensive ones, and I'd have them put back for you. So when you came to Rockwood to a football game, you had a special pack. Pack of hot dogs. And
the guys and everybody there in Oliver Springs picked up. It's like half a hamburger, half a hot dog.
No,
I told you about that guy 2 or 3 weeks ago.
But what I'm saying to you is they warmed your bun. I told them, I said, I want the bun warmed, and I want this pack of hot dogs right here goes to Queener. And it was good.
I would say those two places, but man, when you look at some of the better concessions, I mean, not just the better press boxes, you have to put Oliver Springs right up there in tops with some of the press boxes, along with Kingston, Anderson County. You put them right up there in the tops of some of the places going that actually take care of people in the press box. I mean, the guy up in Anderson County.
Kingston have milkshakes.
Oh, everything. Huh? You'd have a full meal before the game, and then at halftime they'd bring Sonic in.
But
anyway, the guy.
But you got Brad in trouble there in Kingston.
How'd I give me trouble?
Well, just like you said, you'd eat 3 meals.
Yeah. 2.
Well, yeah, but you didn't. But then you took one home with you.
That's all right too.
They'd say, "Hey, Brad, we about got us kicked out from there."
Yeah, that's good.
But I come to you.
No, I don't think it's Brad.
I threw another I threw another $20 out and said, "Hey, I'll take your Queener.
You talking about the guy? There used to be a guy First County. He didn't just take care. He come got your order. What you wanted.
Yeah.
You tell him what you wanted, he go get it and make come
But I
back
thought
with
you
it.
were out of line there, though. I mean,
I was out of line.
Usually, what I'm saying is,
did I eat anything?
No, you told him, I want mustard and chili, and don't forget the relish on my hot dog. I mean, like you was ordering
if he's gonna take it, write it down.
That's wrong.
Yeah,
that's wrong.
You didn't see what I slipped him on the table.
No, that's wrong.
You slip him nothing.
Oh yeah.
I tell you what.
Yeah.
Me and Brad Jones can attest how many times you paid for it.
You don't know when I paid for it.
Yeah.
No, you don't know what I paid for it. Let me show you I'll show you my tax return.
I'll show you. Okay, Trump. Okay. Yeah, okay, Trump. And then me and Brad can tell you how many times we went down and paid for our food before the game, and you didn't buy nothing. You never bought nothing. But anyway, that's beside the point. Did you see where the guy on the Live Golf Tournament, I think he won $4 million. Won a golf tournament, won $4 million. And by the time he paid taxes, he didn't get it. Wherever they were playing, it was a little bit different. And can't remember what country, where they played. But that time he had to pay the taxes in that country, he walked away. He didn't get anywhere near that. It's like maybe $1 million something.
That's why Nashville will probably get them a baseball team. These professional folks. You imagine making an $8 million salary and it's all tax free in the state of Tennessee. You hadn't thought about that, had you?
Yeah, I think about stuff like that all the time.
I mean, that's huge. That's huge.
Well, Nashville already has a AAA team.
Well, but what I'm saying is
because
of that and these teams that come in, their salary for that Sunday is not taxed because they earned it in Tennessee.
Correct. I agree with you.
Okay. Wow.
I agree with you.
Woo.
What do you think about the state? What do you think about? I know we don't talk a lot of pro sports here, but the state of Tennessee putting all the money they're putting in for the Titans' new stadium down there, indoor football stadium.
Well, I think it's going to come back to them rather quickly.
Do you think, and this is just something, do you think that's where the state championship games are played in football in the near future? It's going to be an indoor facility.
Could be indoors. It could be.
Climate. I mean, there'll be no reason. Weather will not be a deterrent.
It could be
a good climate-controlled place to play.
Could be.
I mean, just a thought.
It could be. They could.
I think a lot of people, and if you just listen to a lot of people talk about Nashville right now, I think a lot of people are sort of, you hear a lot of negative talk about Nashville. It just got so big and I'm not talking about what crime's going on there because I don't have any idea about the crime rate. It just got because there's so many people there and it's got so crowded. Has it got too big? Is it like Pigeon Forge at times that you can't go from one end to the other end? It takes you 2 hours to do that in Pigeon Forge if you're on the main drag there just trying to go somewhere. You're not going to go to Gatlinburg up there in peak time season on Friday and Saturday nights.
Well, no, I'm
not.
No,
it's going to take you 3 hours.
But and that's a good point. It's just like going through Knoxville. There's no more room. There's no more place to put another 2 lanes. You can't do it. Now you're to the point where if you do that, you got to expand with bridges and things and go over the top.
Or build them up.
Or build them up. That's what I'm saying.
Put them in the sky.
But then you got
Do you
bridges.
think
and stuff.
Nashville will ever just top out and say, this is it?
No.
There'll be no more growth. Pigeon
Well,
Forge?
no, because what's happening in Nashville is Rutherford County is the fastest growing county in the state right now.
Uh-huh.
Any county that abuts Davidson County is where the pressure is. Wilson County's building another high school. Sumter County building another high school. You know, they just built one about 5 years ago. So they're building high schools like crazy out through there.
Yeah, that's what I mean, though. Do you think?
It's not necessarily Nashville that's
You think
growing.
that growth-
It's expanding.
You think that growth will eventually come to a screeching halt, though? Doesn't it have to eventually?
I think a lot of it probably depends on what happens post-COVID with people working at home, because at one time on a trip to Nashville, I counted like 11 cranes downtown. Now, some of that's you can get a hotel room cheaper in New York City than you can in Nashville.
Oh, no kidding.
So all of those office buildings and things that they were building, if people are still going to be working from home, that's one solution for them. I mean, you know, you figure if you could work from home, you're probably saving 2 hours of commute time, which is stress. So you're getting to work stressed, you're leaving stressed. You start going 65 north any time of day, it's bumper to bumper. It's crazy.
So you just said something about a major league team in Nashville, somewhere in that area. Where would you suggest they build one? If you were called tomorrow and said, "Hey, Ron, we want you to be on this committee. We're going to try to get a major league team down here. We need to figure out where to put it." You have any idea? Would it?
I'd put it fairly close to where they built the new stadium for the AAA team.
Let me ask you this: could it go on the footprint? Could it go and I'm assuming the Titan Stadium today, when the new one is built, will be torn down.
Right.
Could you build a baseball stadium where the Titan Stadium was at?
I would keep it in that proximity downtown.
So how new?
Because you can walk from Broadway across the bridge.
Oh yes, most definitely done that a couple of times. So I didn't know there is a new AAA facility there.
Yeah.
It's not the old one still.
No.
I thought it was still the old one. I didn't know they built a new one, so I'm behind there.
Yeah.
So they've got a new one that's built. Is it pretty nice? You been there?
Yeah.
It's pretty nice.
Nice.
Okay.
But I would keep it downtown. I mean, that's where all the action is. And Broadway, Broadway's probably as close to Bourbon Street as you can get. Where you just close the street off on Friday and Saturday nights, and thousands and thousands of people.
It's packed down there.
Coming down through there.
It's packed.
It's a different kind of place.
So have you? Which I'm a hockey fan. Have you watched any of the hockey playoffs?
No, I don't watch any hockey.
You don't like hockey?
No, I like it. I just don't watch it.
You just don't watch it. It's really interesting right now. Some teams that are still in the playoffs.
Most people watch it. They don't know what the rules are.
I don't know too much about the rules. I still learn about the rules, but I can tell you
Offsides.
It's one of the most
icing.
It's one of the. I know what offsides.
High stick.
High stick. Yep.
Tripping.
Tripping, yeah, that's happened all week. The last 2 or 3 weeks, that's all you've had is tripping and high sticking, and then offside.
But see, they've taken the fun out of hockey. The fun in hockey used to be when you had 2 guys in the penalty box. They've just been swinging at each other on the ice, and you got a penalty box supervisor in there that's supposed to keep the peace, and you see those 2 guys jumping between them like wrestling, and they've taken that away. That was the entertainment part of it.
Well,
you don't see any fighting in the penalty boxes.
They have taken some of the physicality, some of it away from. They have done some things. The physicality part of it. I seen guy from the Dallas Stars. The first series they were in, he got knocked. Don't ask me his name. He scored 4 goals last night for Dallas in a playoff game against the Seattle Kraken. he scored 4 goals last night. He's only the whatever. There's only been so many players do 4, and there's only been so many players score 5 in a game, in a playoff game. So he scored.
Hull
4.
probably was one of them.
Who?
Hull.
He might have been. They called him out last night. I just don't remember. But anyway, he gets hit in the first quarter of a previous series in the first game of, I think it was a 7-game series, I believe, or 5 or 6. Don't really matter. But he takes a pretty vicious hit, and they have to more or less drag him off because he can't skate off.
Wow.
Wound up having a concussion. He's out the whole series. So last night was his second series they're going to be in, but his first series he's actually going to get to play in since that one game where he got the Lulu knocked out of him. He scored 4 goals last night. Wow. It was a really good game. Went in overtime. And the Seattle Kraken is a team that's only 2 years old.
Yeah.
That's in the second round of the playoffs.
So let's take a break, and I've got an interesting question to ask you.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll be right back in a couple minutes.
Daniel Forrester has been recognized as one of East Tennessee's leading attorneys for nearly 2 decades. Civil disputes, criminal defense, divorces, and juvenile custody cases are all part of an impressive resume. Daniel's legal experience also includes representing clients in local, state, and federal courts. A husband and a father, Daniel is a Rule 31 certified mediator who has represented hundreds of families in Chancery Court. Call Daniel Forrester Law Office at 865-457-7900 for a free consultation.
The life of every child is precious. If you care for a child or teenager with a disability and have limited income and resources, they may qualify for monthly cash payments through the Supplemental Security Income Program, or SSI. Call Social Security at 1-800-772-1213 or visit ssa.gov/SSI-Kids to learn more. That's ssa.gov/SSI-Kids. Message produced by Social Security at U.S. taxpayer expense.
We should never lose sight of our health. To keep moving forward, let's not forget everything we've learned. Limit the salty food options. Make your own daily exercise routine. And always receive regular checkups. More than anything, we have learned how important these small steps can make a big difference. So we can all continue to move forward together.
Earl Duff Pre-Owned Center in Harriman is your one-stop shop for vehicle sales and service. The Duff family is open for business for everything automotive. We offer fully inspected, dependable pre-owned vehicles, and most come with a powertrain warranty at no extra cost. We also have a complete service department equipped for maintenance and repairs on all makes and models.
Don't settle for less with your next pre-owned vehicle purchase. Come to Earl Duff Pre-Owned Center in Harriman or online at duffpreowned.com.
Roan Metals Group has been serving East Tennessee for decades. Locally owned and operated with convenient hours of operation. Roan Metals buys all types of scrap metal. Nothing's too big or too small. Still have that clunker sitting around? We've been buying them for years. Roan Metals Group are specialists in industrial scrap. We have what it takes to get any size job done. Roan Metals urges you to recycle responsibly. Scrap with only licensed dealers. A member of the TSRA and the ISRI. Roan Metals Group. Turn that scrap into cash.
Welcome back to the Locker Room Chat. Glad to be with you this evening. Go ahead. You said you had a question.
Got a question.
I probably can't answer, but I'll try.
So what's the deal with Alabama picking up another quarterback out of the portal?
What's the deal?
Yeah, I mean, does that mean Alabama's they're not happy with their quarterbacks? They don't have any faith in their quarterbacks? They go to Notre Dame and get a backup quarterback?
I guess the same thing it says right here. I seen somewhere about the Vols. Let's see, I don't remember which one it was.
They didn't pick a quarterback.
Vols don't add a quarterback as transfer portal closes.
Right. So my question to you is this the time that the armor's cracked at Alabama?
Well, if you listen to all the people that say they're experts besides me and you, they don't call us and talk to us. If you listen, they say the Alabama's run's over with.
Well, that's my point.
What I'm leading up to saying is you could be on the right track.
Yeah, I mean,
Amtrak train could be going the right direction.
I mean, always before they've had a stable full.
Yeah. Well, I think you've got a kid that's played for a couple of years, that won the Heisman, and now there's a vacancy, and I've not even heard who the quarterback
Yeah,
projected starter
they've got a
is.
couple. I mean, they've got a couple. One played some last year, but it just surprised me that Saban would go to the portal.
But if you got a chance to get somebody, and maybe you need somebody, maybe you're not happy. Maybe you're happy with whoever who's number one, but maybe you're not happy with number 2, 3, and 4.
Right.
And you got somebody, and you think in your eyes, from looking at them and scouting them and seeing them play and seeing film, they're better 2, 3, 4. You get the kid.
Well, and the other thing was
that's my fault.
The other thing was the offensive coordinator from Notre Dame is now at Alabama. So this kid,
that had anything to do with it?
Well, all I know is the coordinator came down. They picked this kid up out of the portal, and so it just makes you wonder. Has that coordinator looked at game film or gone through spring practice and said, "Hey, I need help. I don't like what you've left me here this way." Just food for thought.
The next time you talk about this, it'd be good if you tell the whole story. And you could answer it each year.
What is the whole story?
Makes sense now that you told the whole story. Quarterback, played for the guy that's
I'm just saying
coordinator now. But blah blah blah.
Well,
I forgot all about that.
No, but the question was,
I think,
why would he?
Well, like I said, it could either be what you just said, I agree with, and it could be what I just said.
Yeah.
They don't like 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
They got a little backup, got a little familiarity
But
with the
I
offensive
think it's good.
coordinator.
I think it's good for us because, he's not going to have a Bryce Young, or some of the former ones that he's had.
All right, question back. So Alabama's been at the top, and they've been there for a while. Georgia's been at the top now. They ain't been there for a while, but they've been there for a couple years. Who's next? Is it LSU? Is it Tennessee? Is it Texas or Oklahoma that's coming? Who's next? Who's going to make that next? I sort of relate this back to like we talked about basketball. Lady Vols had a run.
Yeah.
UConn had a run. Stanford's had a run. South Carolina's had a little run.
Yeah.
Everybody's had LSU's on a run right now and reloading, looking like they might be able to do a run next year too with some of the players. They get the best player from Louisville that Louisville had. She's now at LSU. They're looking. There's somebody else maybe that's going there, or recruit or something.
I think it's
next?
probably LSU because defensively they were pretty good. And he's brought in a quarterback in the portal, and he's using the portal. The portal is really handy for guys like Kelly that came in and said, "Hey, I don't see the quality athletes that we got to have to win in the SEC." And that's the disadvantage to those 1-year scholarships. So you whack a few of them out. Where you just tell them, "Hey, kid, you're not ever going to play here. Your best bet is to get in the portal and find you someplace where you can play." So that frees up people that he can bring in, and that's what happened to him this year. He brought the quarterback in from the portal, and I think he can build off of that. I think Tennessee is in that talk. When they get there defensively, then you can say Tennessee is also capable of being there. I think that's the biggest thing for me is
so you think
we're not where we are defensively.
So do you
need to be.
You think Georgia's got a chance to repeat?
I do.
A three-peat?
I do. I think if you look at their recruiting, their cupboard is full. If they're probably not a half a dozen players, top-notch players that could even get in the portal to Georgia that Georgia would need.
So.
And they would come on the defensive side probably, and they're already strong defensively.
So you're saying out of the West, it's probably going to be Alabama and LSU that's going to battle out. Do you think LSU probably wins out?
Probably. The interesting thing I think there is going to be Texas A&M. Can they come back after a fluky season? And he's made some adjustments in the portal. They got a little better toward the end of the year because if he doesn't. And he's in a tough position to go with Alabama and LSU.
You would say he's on the hot seat.
Well, but because he's got the toughest road ahead by being in that conference. Tennessee's probably Georgia, and other than that, there's nobody.
Do you think there's anybody in the SEC right now that's sitting in an office, a head coach, worried about Texas and Oklahoma coming in a year or two?
Yeah.
You think they are?
Yeah,
worried
yeah.
about it?
I think Texas. I mean, I think Texas is. Texas is going to be a quality football team, and they've got, they've got two good quarterbacks that can lead them. So once again, and he's a great offensive coach. So once again, defensively, and Tennessee found this out. And Steve Spurrier, Steve Spurrier did it for years. He'd score 41 points, but his defense would give up 43. If you can't stop on the defensive side, doesn't matter how good you are.
Here's the only thing I don't like about Tennessee. Here's the only thing I don't like about Josh Heupel, okay? And it's only one thing. I think Tennessee jumps out, and he plays a part in it because he calls plays. I think they jump out to these leads, and then they just try to hang on. I think they try to play not to lose, and I just think there's too many close games. I mean, they jump out on people and get up 21 or whatever.
Well,
but there's too many close games.
But
it has something
defense.
to do with the defense. It does. It has something to do. Yeah, but you don't just come out and have an explosive offense in the first half, and in the third quarter you come out and you run the ball 3 straight times up the middle and you get 0 yards or negative yards. What's the difference in the first half and second half? Don't you play the game? Do you readjust that much? You're trying to compensate?
Well, you're going to. It depends. I mean, it depends on, have you had somebody injured?
No, you're playing not to lose, Ron Berry, and that will get you beat every time.
I don't know that because I'm not sure. I'm not sure that he has the ability to take his foot off the gas. I mean, I think he coaches pretty much one way.
No, he has the ability to. He can call 3 straight running plays.
Well, but that's very rare that he's going to call 3
in the
straight
second half.
plays.
It's probably. It'd be interesting to see if somebody's got, and I'm sure somebody out here, stat guru, could figure that out pretty quickly and give us the information.
Now he might run 3. He might run 3 running plays when he's trying to run the clock out, but not when the game is still in hand.
Different story. I will give you credit for that different story.
But that's
So you think there are people that's saying, man, I wish Texas and Oklahoma. Well, I'm not talking about people like, I'm not talking the Tennessee, the Georgia, the Alabama, the LSU, the Texas A&M, let's say Florida. I think Florida's really down and out. I just think they're in a bad coach. They just got a bad coach here.
Well, I think the
Neighbor's
teams that are in trouble are Kentucky, South Carolina, Vanderbilt, Mississippi State. The teams that are just either on the line or just below the line now in the SEC, Florida, Oklahoma, and Texas are going to elevate themselves over those. So you've just got more of a space between those teams now. Vanderbilt just gets bumped on down, but they just keep making more money.
I noticed you didn't say anything about Ole Miss. You think Kiffin's going to continue to do the good job he's doing down in Ole Miss?
I think Kiffin has the opportunity, but again, they're doing away with the conferences, so you no longer have the East and the West. So that's going to help a bunch, and I think eventually they'll go to 10 teams, won't they? 10-game schedule.
Let's talk.
Let's talk. I think if they do that, then you could start to see some 2-loss teams in the playoff system because they would have beat each other up.
And I agree with you wholeheartedly on the beating each other up part.
But think what it would do for TV, because almost every week then, because Vanderbilt probably would never get to play on TV. South Carolina might get to play some. Mississippi State might get to play some. Mississippi might get to play some. But look at the number one game in the country. The majority of the season would come out of the SEC.
Yes. There could be a couple big games come with Ohio State.
You're still going to have Ohio State, but I'm saying week in and week out, you're going to have probably the premier game. Think what that does to your revenue stream.
It has to jack it up.
Has to
make it better. I mean, I don't see no reason why it wouldn't, but it has to. I think it'd be interesting this year at Mississippi State to see what the coach there does, having to replace Mike Leach after he passed away. Mike Leach was if you just listen to people talk, even though he done some crazy things, man, he was pretty good, pretty big football mind. He was a pretty brilliant football coach from what people talk about him. X and O
I think the key to the whole scheduling thing is what two rivalries do you keep?
Well,
see, I mean, how can I mean, and Tennessee may benefit tremendously from this because Vanderbilt's probably going to be one of theirs.
I don't think it should be Vanderbilt.
And then you overcompensate because then you have to have Alabama as one of them.
I think it should be Alabama and Georgia.
So, well, that's not fair.
Why?
Well, because then who's I mean, you're going to have, just like this year, Auburn has to play Alabama and LSU. That's not fair. When these
that's good.
Well, but I'm saying no. But what I'm saying is,
who'd you rather have, Florida? Anybody?
Well,
why do we need to have Vandy? Because it's a cush game?
Because it's just locale.
Oh, because it's the location being right here next door.
Yeah. See, so you.
I guess
so. You could have theoretically you could have Tennessee, Kentucky, and Vanderbilt. Well, that's no good. That's no good.
Well, Tennessee's games right now are Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Kentucky, and Vandy, and South Carolina. So it's evident that they're not going to be able to keep all them teams.
No, they're only going to be
so
two.
Let me ask you a question. You said something about a 10-game schedule and only having a couple out here that would just be. Had you soon to see Tennessee play Tennessee Tech? Nothing against the kids from Tennessee Tech. I understand why they'd want to come to Neyland and play in front of a huge crowd. It's a great payday for Tennessee Tech. Keeps their football program probably going on to bigger and better
Would I
things.
go watch that game? No.
Would you go watch that game?
No.
Would you go watch a game if Tennessee was playing Oklahoma instead of Texas, instead of Tennessee Tech?
Sure.
If that game was the scheduled game.
Sure.
So I think that's what, don't you think fans desire a tougher opponent? Maybe not tougher, a better opponent?
And that's why the 10-game schedule is coming in is to eliminate. I mean, if you look at this year's schedule, and it's not just Tennessee playing, I think who is it? Somebody plays Chattanooga.
That's Georgia. Georgia's got their schedule's a cupcake schedule.
Alabama does the same thing.
Their schedule's
I think
cupcake,
Tennessee's got what? UT Martin. I forget who's on their schedule, but everybody's got some cupcakes.
Sure do. All right, well, we've wore it out here tonight. It's about over with, and got anything you want to say before we go?
It's always a pleasure to just sit and chat with you, Mr. Quinn.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I enjoy it, too.
It's always because I always have to put my thinking cap on.
That's what I want. I want you to have to think.
I appreciate you.
Any pickleball news I was asked that?
Pickleball gets bigger and bigger every week. When are
we going to get some film on that we can play it on TV? You know anytime? We can't get some dates when you're on the court.
Anytime you want some.
Oh, okay.
Tuesday, Thursdays, and Fridays.
Tuesday, Thursdays, Fridays.
Yeah. But
you playing double matches or single matches?
Oh, double.
You play double?
Yeah, doubles. That singles, I don't know. That singles would be tough. But it's
fast growing sport.
30 million pickleball players by 2030.
Whew. Wow, that's a ton, isn't it?
And it's not just for senior citizens.
No, it's
addictive. It's addictive.
It's everybody.
These new developments that your young professionals, 45, 48. It's all you see.
All you see. I'll tell you, folks, join us here next week, and we'll try to open up with pickleball. We won't leave it to the last 30 seconds to talk about. We'll try to open up with a little pickleball. It'll be join Ron Berry. We could talk about pickleball.
We could have stay out of the kitchen.
Stay out of the kitchen, Ron Berry and pickleball. Hey, until next week, right here on the Locker Room Chat, we're liable to talk about anything and everything. So far, we've stayed out of politics, but we could head that way.
No, you got into politics.
We got into politics a little bit tonight.
You mentioned it by name. You mentioned it by name.
I called you Trump. I apologize. I won't do that no more. Maybe. We'll see you next week right here on the Locker Room Chat. Y'all have a good weekend.
Night, everybody.
Roan Metals Group has been serving East Tennessee for decades. Locally owned and operated with convenient hours of operation. Roan Metals buys all types of scrap metal. Nothing's too big or too small. Still have that clunker sitting around? We've been buying them for years. Roan Metals Group are specialists in industrial scrap. We have what it takes to get any size job done. Roan Metals urges you to recycle responsibly. Scrap